Hello. Today in this video I'm going to be going over a theory which I've come up with about the dungeons in Breath of the Wild and stages which won't be in them, like similar in the Wind Waker, and how there might be a multiplayer aspect involved. Okay, so let's get started. First, on this picture here, it's the back piece is a bit of parchment which they showed in the Switch Reveal treehouse, and you can't see the whole bit of pattern on my photo because I've had to snip little bits of it to get it in high quality, so I can actually show you what I mean. Now, it shows in the middle of it was like a knight facing off with Calamity Ganon, like a big one. Could be like the King of Hyrule or Link or someone. Then around Calamity Ganon was tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of guardians. Literally tons of them. I think I've said enough of that word now for you to get what I mean. But then, in each of the top left, top right and bottom left and bottom right corners, you can see big and giant animals of Sheikah design with someone riding on top of one, like pointing towards Calamity Ganon, suggesting they're like going in to attack him. Now, the first thing that you can notice is that the bird in the top left is the same design as the insignia which that Birdman wore on his scarf, like, you know, from the Life in the Ruins trailer. This suggests that the giant bird ship is the big bird we can see on this piece of parchment. So if it is, then that means the three other animals must also be big pieces of Sheikah tech. Well, if they are actually, because we can see two of them in the trailer. One of them you can see climbing Death Mountain and it's a big lizard, and another is a camel like walking through the desert, stomping in sand going everywhere. But this leaves the bottom right one. Based on the fact that the bird is in the air, the lizard is on Death Mountain and the camel is in the desert, I believe that the elephant will be in the sea or water. This can be further backed up by the fact that the map is shown in really old footage like a few years ago, this map which we saw. The top left is snow, the top right is Death Mountain to do fire, the bottom left is desert to do sand, and then the bottom right is ocean with a big island on it, which would be to do with water. And this matches up with all the robots on the parchment and where they've been spotted, suggesting that the bottom right being ocean would mean that the elephant is in the ocean, maybe even on that island which we can see in the old map. And maybe the island has a dungeon on it, maybe the island is the dungeon, but then again, if we're going with the theory which I'm about to get onto, in the future, then it wouldn't be the island that's the dungeon, but something else. I mean, doesn't it seem familiar that they're all related to an element each? I think quite a few of the games, the dungeons have been represented by elements, like Wind Waker, was wind and earth temples, Skyward Sword, earth, fire, desert, all sorts really. So, these robots also are represented by elements, so I believe these robots to be the four dungeons of the game, and that the people you see riding them in the video, like sages of sorts that look after these big robots and that control them. And there was a rumour not that long ago, I'm not sure how long ago it is now, I can't remember, but the rumour was that there were four dungeons in the game, and then people speculated that because of this rumour about four dungeons in the game, then they're related to the four pillars around Hyrule Castle. And I believe that it is true, what people have speculated and what rumours said, and that, well, with the robot, once you complete the dungeon, you gain control of it, and therefore deactivates a pillar at Hyrule Castle, which I believe the Calamity Ganon to be using to control the robot. I also believe that you'll have to work with an NPC sage in order to complete the dungeon, like, similar to in Wind Waker. So that once you complete the dungeon, the sage can like stay and look at, like, control the big robot dungeon thing whilst you're gone, and going off to control the other ones. And this would lead to way more interesting puzzles and fighting in the dungeon, considering how complex, well, how good the NPCs look from footage we've seen, and they look way better than like the dungeons you've done in Wind Waker. They were good too, it's just it'd be more interesting. But the thing is, the thing which makes this theory more plausible is the fact that you wouldn't actually need to complete these dungeons, because all it'd do is give you a big robot to help you kill Calamity Ganon or defeat him or whatever you do. Meaning that that's why you can go and defeat him right at the start of the game, because you don't need the big robot dungeons to help you. It's just they'd make it a hell of a lot easier to kill Calamity Ganon or seal him or whatever you end up doing. So, anyway, let's get on to the sages which I was talking about. I believe the sage of the bird ship will be, well, that Birdman from the latest trailer and the Life of Maroons one with that scarf around his neck, with that birded insignia on it. I think that he's the sage of a bird ship because of his insignia on his scarf. And then for the big lizard fire robot thing, I think the gore on him a trailer that says "Here it comes," with all the blue lights around him, which I speculated using magic, could be the sage of the lizard. And this would be supported by the fact that what looks like magic is around him, so it could be him doing some sage magic stuff. And there's the fact that Gorons live on Death Mountain, and that's where the lizard is, so that would also help. And also, there's that blue scarf he's wearing. The same as the scarf which the bird guy's wearing, suggesting that they're both of importance, and maybe they are sages like I think. If they are, then, well, either way I speculate that the Goron guy's blue scarf will have the symbol representing the lizard on it, because the bird guy's symbol represents the bird ship. And also, because the Goron has a big, like a gigantic sword, and the Birdman has a big bow, then that would support what I'm saying about teamwork with NPCs in dungeons, like fighting, solving puzzles, that sort of thing. And the fact that they have their own weapons in that, and their own artwork, well, not the bird, but the Goron does, would suggest that they are of importance, so they could easily be sages. Then, I think the sage for the camel will be the Gerudo woman we've seen in the trailer. She's holding this big round spiky object. It could be like a new weapon of sorts, like you use it like a boomerang, you throw it and then the spikes and it get the enemies when it comes back to you. However, the bad point of my theory here is that she doesn't have a blue scarf, like the other two people I believe to be sages, but I still believe that she is one. I mean, like in this photo here, it shows her standing with Link in front of the big camel dungeon. You can tell it's the camel because there's two big humps on its back. However, it doesn't appear to be moving, so it seems as if it's deactivated. However, the main fact is that the Gerudo is there standing there with Link, so she has interest in this dungeon too, and therefore she could easily be a sage, especially because she's there with Link. But even if she doesn't have a scarf on, maybe it's just because like she is a sage, but she doesn't know it yet, like some of the sages in Ocarina of Time, and she will become one later on. And well, like Nabora in Ocarina of Time. Also though, because the camel dungeon I said could be deactivated, this would make it more like separated, different to the other robotic dungeons, because it would be off, like all electricity would be off, and it would provide different gameplay to the other three, because you'd be like fighting infestations of enemies, trying to find a power source to turn it back on, and then you'd have to go through the electric version as well, trying to gain control of it. Anyway, heading back to the main part of the video. For the big elephant one, I believe the sage to be a Zora. But which Zora? Because there were at least two in the trailer which we saw. Well, I believe it to be that small female Zora rather than the other Zora, or any other Zoras. This is because she has a blue scarf and her own artwork, and this scarf will presumably have that elephant logo on it. And then also she has a massive spear, which would be a weapon similar to the Goron's, and that bird guy's bow, and maybe spiky thing that Gerudo has. But also, as well as that, there's the tall Zora, so who would he be? Well, I believe he could be the leader of the Zoras, because he has a sash with the like Zora symbol of like the what's it called again? Crystal-y thing, like the Goron Ruby and Kiri Emerald. Oh, Zora Sapphire from Ocarina of Time. It has that symbol along the sash he's wearing, so that could be like a sash of office, and he's in charge of the Zoras. Or he could just be like a Zora warrior or someone of the royal Zora family. But enough of that. So basically, to sum up this whole theory of mine, I believe each big robot which you can see on the parchment to be a dungeon that you have to complete in order to gain control of it, and then the Birdman, Goron, Gerudo and Zora are the sages which will control them after Link has completed them, so then they can help him defeat Calamity Ganon with it. That was a bit of a mouthful just then, but there we go. Hope you like my theory. If not, then comment below about what you dislike. If you like it, comment below why you like it. Do you agree with me? Is there anything I can do to improve? Is there anything I haven't noticed? Just comment below about what you want to comment about below, really. Thanks. See you next time.